have two very interesting panel discussions happening. Our first one is on a very interesting topic. The topic is equity, inclusion, and representation at the workplace. Women, people with disabilities, LGBTQIA plus communities. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to invite our moderator. I'm going to introduce our moderator very quickly. Our moderator is Rashi Goel. You heard her talk a little earlier, and now she's here to conduct an entire panel discussion. Now, she has a very illustrious career, and it's so much that we had to put it up on the screen so you can read it entirely, but an absolutely fantastic professional. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Rashi Goel. Huge round of applause.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening once again. I'll just quickly take this opportunity. We are running behind time, I know, so I'll quickly take this opportunity of introducing everyone else who's joining me here on the podium. First of all, I'll invite Gauri Gupta. Gauri is a disability facilitator. She's a digital creator, a writer, editor for disability awareness and allyship. She is a national level para-athletic and currently a law student at the Faculty of Law, University of Delhi. In a span of 1.5 years, just 1.5 years, she's touched over 1,700 lives and through her community facilitations, and is associated with multiple corporates, NGOs, NPOs, and educational institutes, Christ University, Azim Premji University, just to name a few. Gauri, please. Next we have with us is Harish Iyer. Harish is the DEI head at Axis Bank and a part of the core group on LGBT issues with National Human Rights Commission. He's one of the people who actually moved to the Indian Supreme Court to decriminalize homosexuality in India. He's engaged in several awareness campaigns, has written multiple articles, letters about the impact of the decision, and highlighted the plight of the LGBTQ community in India. Welcome, Harish. And we have with us Maya Awasthy. Maya is the co-founder and co-chairperson of Tweet Foundation, Transgender Welfare, Equity and Empowerment Trust. She identifies as a trans woman Hijra community member. She has been working for the community for over 15 years now and has been volunteering through her establishments. She's also the co-founder of Dancing Queens, India's first trans dance troupe, is a part of various trans advocacy initiatives, and has also closely worked with Queer Azadi March in Mumbai. Welcome, Maya.
Thank you, Rashi.
Please have a seat. Can you share a mic? Great. So like Vishal mentioned, the topic for this panel is equity, inclusion, and representation. What I'll do is keep it very simple, have few questions for the panel, and then we'll open up for the audience to ask them questions, if any. So first of all, to all three of you, what does equity, inclusion, and representation mean? What is the meaning, if you can break it down for our audience? Gauri, would you like to start? I mean, I'm just going alphabetically here to be safe.
So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. I think when we talk about equity, inclusion, representation, that's the second step. First thing, we need to acknowledge that something like disability even exists. You know, as a society, we keep going around and around. We don't acknowledge that somebody can be disabled and their identity is valid that way. We keep telling people, you're not disabled, you're specially abled, as if I'm God's child. I'm disabled. There are things I can do and there are things I can't. That does not make my identity invalid in any way. Then we, engage in euphemisms like Divyangjan or differently abled. You tell me that I'm not disabled, I'm differently abled, and that I can do everything differently. Tell me how, as a wheelchair user, you expect me to jump differently or perhaps run differently. I mean, The first thing that we need to acknowledge that disability exists. It's not something that's bad. It's a valid identity. It's not something that needs to be fixed. Disabled people are people, and that's the way we are. Then we need to understand that, when we are so focused in the idea of fixing people or fixing things, it's not disability that we need to fix. It's not disabled people who need to be better or, normal in a certain way. We have to understand it's ableism that needs to fix. The concept of normal, when we talk about normal with respect to representation, first of all, these are not the conversations that we have in our mainstream media. We don't usually talk about disability. And when we do, when there is a character, a disabled character in a movie, it's usually for the sympathy plot. We are not the way we should be. And then, of course, the fact that we are not having this conversation also stems to the idea that disability cannot exist. It's just a matter of something that's in your mind. I can't count the number of times that I've been told that it's all just in your head. Why don't you stand up? So this is something that really needs to change as of now, and then only we'll be able to talk about representation, inclusion, or equity for that matter. We need to acknowledge that an identity exists.